All right, let's make a little recording now. Um, okay, your faded color in the background is a nice, unique touch. It definitely works with Literacy Link, and it definitely looks like a masthead, which makes the top of your front cover look more like a magazine. So that's great. Um, these things are two focal points that are kind of fighting with each other, and the weight of the W is oddly strange compared to the rest of the lettering. And so um, one questions, why is the W so heavy? So this part seems resolved. This part down here does not. All right, as we go in, um, you're probably going to have to find ways to make different versions of this background to adapt to different layouts. It does work in this setting, and this is a clever use of the feather, I admit. This looks a little big for something that's attached to this, and we might need, however, over here, just to kind of help the viewer understand that this is directly connected to the tail end of this. So we might have to move the last part of this text over. It's not really a wise idea to set up centering, particularly with content, so I'd probably left justify or fully justify, line up all the pages on the right and all the names on the left. It's good practice to put the titles perhaps in bold and the authors in italics. We have a decent hierarchy here. I think this is a little small, and I think it's this small due to the size of this gradient. So if you had a bigger gradient, using the exact same one, just enlarging it, we could increase the size of this text. Now this text here looks strangely big. It also, I wish you can see my mouse, but just notice that if I take the word free and I try to go over, I have to jump up. So this is actually too high and it's not lined up. That's called inconsistent baseline. And so that's something we will have to fix. Okay, so we have this is interesting, an interesting start. So I take it that this is the longer. I think we might have had these two article contents mixed up a little bit. We'll have to take a look at that and double check. But just imagining the content, this content does go with this title. Notice how you have this great focal point, great starting, and then you have the pull quote, very good, but then the viewer doesn't know exactly where to go next. So what you really need is an intro paragraph, a way to get the eye from here to wherever I'm supposed to start reading. It's almost like I'm supposed to start here, but I know it's logically it's this. So notice you don't have any stepping stones, and there's all kinds of tools that you could use to get the viewer here. You might want to put the title and then continued here, so we have some hierarchy to the page. The only hierarchy we have is that this is larger. So that's kind of considered an orphan there. There's a widow, so little things, but we don't fix those till the very end. Now look at thought sphere, look at the size. Notice how it's bigger than this. So in a way, thought sphere is coming across as more important, grander than a main article. So that's an issue. Okay, wait a second. Here's the main article. Here's another main article. Here's another main article. Oh, I see we have two versions of it. Okay. Well, that's something we could work on. I guess of the two, I guess I'd do a combination where this lettering becomes bigger because the background blend is larger, more matching the size of these letters. This one is so short as an article, I suggest you put it on one spread. That doesn't mean you have to change the size of all of this lettering. I would just choose to break this into title, subtitle. It's a really interesting typeface you got, by the way. Really nice choice. Nice color, too. Notice that the word happiness has different leading. See how the gap is bigger here than the H to the O here. Look at the H to the O there. You got a slightly bigger gap than right there. Anyway, I would choose Resisting Negativity as the main title, or For the Hope of Happiness as the main title, and make the rest the subtitle. And then I'd make an intro paragraph, and then since this content's so short, you might as well move it on there. Now this one doesn't have references, if I remember correctly. Call for papers, again, a little big, and it certainly could be one page. So it's interesting how the material's kind of gotten scattered throughout the whole magazine, so we might want to improve the order of text by looking at the original document. That would help you there. Overall, you have some nice things going on. Color choices, gradients. Let's see. Looks like the grid being used is pretty consistent. That's good. The gap between these two paragraphs looks too tight. And that's too tight between the two paragraphs. See how that one's bigger? And these are tighter? So that's... strikes me as a little strange. Okay, so you have like multiple different sizes of that gap. Officially, we'll call it an alley. And that kind of needs to be fixed. But that's probably enough to work on. I know this is coming late. I apologize. It's just been a very heavy time of presentations. And that's... October is that time of year. So forgive me for that. Thank you so much.